with my bros. All right, guys, we are back with Bruh on BET Plus, dropping each Thursday. Last Thursday, we had episodes 11 through 13 added to the streaming service, but from this point forward, we're only getting one episode per week, which sucks, but I'm going to be reviewing each episode separately. Originally, I was going to only do one video, especially after watching episode 11, which wasn't bad. I thought it was okay. I thought it was an okay episode. Not even a full page of notes, and I was thinking, well, if episodes 12 and 13 kind of fall into the same range of note-taking, then I would probably condense it to one video, but yeah, I was fooled. Episode 11 was just the tip of the iceberg. Episode 12 and 13 had more to add to the pot. But I will say that this episode, to me, felt like it was definitely an introduction for Greg to the drama that this group has to offer him as the newbie, taking Tom's place while he goes to take care of his mother. So I'm going to give this episode a 6 out of 10. Not, again, it wasn't bad. I thought it was just okay. But then when we get to episode 12 and 13, trust and believe, I have a lot more to say. But before moving forward in the video, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like it. Hit subscribe as we get closer and closer to 200,000 subscribers. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And most importantly, make sure you hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content. And also remember that it's no longer the haves and the have-nots review. It's our kind of entertainment. Some people have been telling me that, yeah, the reason I haven't been watching your videos is because I'm used to getting haves and have-not reviewed notifications and not our kind of entertainment. So just put that out there, you know. All right, so no cutaways in the video because I got 3 episodes to review and I did fun videos on Instagram last night. Sorry, not sorry. All right, so we pick up where we left off. Bill is pissed because he walked in Mike's loft and saw Mike and Regina, you know, laughing and whatnot and hugging. So he assumed the worst, you know, basically the fact that, Regina, what are you doing here? Because of the fact that, if you remember earlier this season, something similar happened with Bill and Pam, where Bill said that he kissed Pam when in actuality she was the one that kissed him. And he jumped to conclusions. So we have the same thing going on here. But thankfully, Regina kind of puts out the fire before, you know, it starts to burn further in their friendship. So Mike tries to suggest he and Regina had sex, but she calms down the situation, saying, no, we just had a good moment, had a good conversation. Don't you ruin it being an asshole. And this just goes to show that Pam and Mike are definitely cut from the same cloth, because if you remember, during the first half of season 2, her whole thing was lying on Bill, and hell, if I remember correctly, even lying on Tom to make Mike jealous, and as a result, divided the group of bros more and more with each episode, and here we got Mike doing the same thing. I mean, it gets so bad that Mike takes off that pink blazer because he's ready to he's ready to throw hands with Bill over the Regina situation. So Regina gets Mike to explain to Bill what the conversation was about. The fact that, hey, I thought you were at Pam's place, but I had her followed. It turns out it wasn't your car. I mean, it looks like yours, but it wasn't yours. And even though he didn't want to do it, I mean, Mike was ready to fight, but had to be dragged by Regina to apologize to Bill. And, you know, Bill still isn't having it because he's wondering why Regina is even there to begin with. And because deep down he knows that Mike would pull some I'm going to get even crap. But Regina leaves and says, look, I'm going home and I will talk to you as soon as you work out things with Mike, because Natalie told me that you two talked. Wait, Natalie told you? Yeah. And she told me to give you the benefit of the doubt and be open to what you have to say to me. So Regina steps out of the scene. We will catch up with her later. So with Bill and Mike kind of going at it, he's about to leave. You know, I need to get away from you, toxic little nigga. I don't know why, but every time he said little nigga, I just bust out laughing. And he knows that Mike would get even with him, and Mike tries to reassure him that I would never do anything like that. Well, didn't I try to tell you the same thing about Pam, but you didn't believe me? Touche. So Mike is being extremely, I mean, I don't want to say a complete asshole, but at the same time, it is guys. It makes sense that they won't be able to express their feelings, you know, right away. And Bill is rightfully angry because he's feeling exactly how Mike felt. And the thing about it is, at least in Bill's situation, Bill came over to Mike, even though the rest of the guys told him not to do it, and told him what happened with Pam. And instead of actually clearly listening to what Bill was saying, Mike decided to hear what he only wanted to hear, which was Pam was kissing someone else that wasn't him, and he was done with Bill. But then in this situation, you have Bill actually walking in on Mike and Regina, but given the fact that they were both fully clothed and just laughing and everything, I mean, he really wouldn't have the right to think that bad about them unless Mike really did some messed up stuff in the past. And I do believe that the other guys said that, or was it Tom and John saying, like, you know, Mike might try to do something to get even because he's just that kind of guy, and he's done something like that in the past. So as soon as Bill is about to leave, the toxic little nigga, Greg and John burst into the room, and they pretty much try to calm down the situation because they just come in. And honestly, I didn't expect them to show up because, you know, with Bill about to leave, I'm like, okay, he's probably going to go back, talk to Regina. Mike's probably going to get a drink. But no, John and Greg just come into the scene, and they're caught in the turmoil of the situation. They learn about the Pam and Regina setups and the fact that Mike had Pam followed, and, you know, they're both reacting to how crazy that is and why would Mike do something like that. And, you know what, Bill, calm down, Mike apologized and this and that. But basically, before they can get to the root of the situation, Mike just kind of barks at them to leave because he doesn't want to talk with anybody. And, you know, it's like, hey, you get out of here, Bill. John, don't try my patience. Kind of thinking to myself, John don't want to get knocked the hell out again. So he decides to leave, and Greg tries to have a one-on-one with Mike. But I guess because, you know, with Greg being the new guy, and remember, these are all college buddies, but he's new to Atlanta because he just got there. So Mike is relatively patient with him, and he tells him to leave, so Greg leaves, and that's about it. Mike is left by himself to his own devices. And the next scene, we have Greg and John, you know, driving back from the loft, and Greg immediately feels like something is off about Mike. And John is like, yeah, I mean, he's been irrational from time to time, but, you know, this time, it was kind of like, you know, hey, this is normal for him, but, you know, it'll all blow over. But Greg is like, I don't know, it's like something. And then John's like, wait, what do you think it is? Like, you know, you got to tell me something if you feel like it's something off. It's like, no, I don't really have any solid proof, but I'll try to talk to him again later on. But from there, they kind of have a moment where John realizes that Greg is driving a bit faster than the speed limit, or at the very least seems like he's rushing to get some booty at home. And he pretty much talks about Officer Darlow without mentioning her name, Officer Grills, basically saying, hey, there's this girl down the hall, we met, I have a date tonight. Oh, okay. But hey, can you drop me off by the bar? Because Greg tries to ask John about his lady situation, and we know that he wants to see Lydia, so Greg's going to drop him off. But then from there, John's like, hey, can you stop by the apartment and get this bag to my mom? And there's the bag of tampons and whatnot. And he doesn't want to do it for obvious reasons because, you know, hey, that's your mom, and I'm not trying to deliver another person's things. But look, since I'm not in Lynchburg anymore, trust and believe, I miss the benefits of Uber and DoorDash. But I do know that there were like stores like Walgreens and CVS where you can order stuff online, and then the delivery person would just drop it off at your house. Being that I'm not a woman, I had no reason to ever see if like sex things were needed or lady products were available to be delivered. So to me, it's like, well, Greg, technically speaking, you are John's Uber. So think of it as DoorDash for his mom. I mean, there you go. But he agrees to stop by and deliver the stuff. And then he's like, hey, I'm going to drop it off. Then I'm going to go right back to the apartment because I got a date. So that leads to the question I've had of a missing scene. Because remember how I said Greg and John kind of popped up at Mike's place? Remember in the last episode, Tom was giving John a ride. And if I remember correctly, they were all supposed to go to Mike's apartment. Because the last episode aired in, what was it? Good grief. July? Mid-July? So yeah, I do think they were supposed to go to Mike's apartment, which would explain why Greg and John went there directly. But remember, Tom got the phone call about his mom, and that's why he had to make the emergency exit from the series briefly to check on her. And at the time, John was in the store getting the things for his mom, so Tom was like, hurry up, John! Damn! And then he just pulled off, and I'm thinking to myself, I wish we could have, like, either seen John run out of the store or had a voiceover like, Tom, where you going, Tom? So I guess Tom called Greg to give him actually, Tom told Greg about leaving John at the store. So I guess he went to pick him up. So I don't know why, but I felt like that missing scene would have been funny as hell. Because I don't remember if Greg told... I think the only person Greg told about Tom's mother's health and why Tom left was Miss Alice, and that's in the scene coming up. But I guess maybe he told, John in the off-screen pickup from the store and the drive over to Mike's loft. So from there, we go over to, I think, Bill's apartment. Yeah, it has to be Bill's apartment, because when Regina said she was going home, I guess she did say, because Bill wanted to talk for later, that I guess she would be going back to his apartment. And then that's where they are. Cause I'm like, wait a minute. Have we ever seen Regina's place? But then I remember, and it's mentioned later on that, hey, since she was getting married to Peter, she gave up her place. Not to mention she gave it up when she said she was going to move to California. So, yeah, they're at Bill's place. But she's talking with Pam, and Pam's, on her way to give Mike a piece of her mind. And I'm thinking Mike probably wants a piece of that ass when she comes over there. But she and Mike haven't been on the best wavelength throughout this season. But basically, Regina reveals that Mike had Pam followed, and as soon as that conversation's over, Regina and Bill chat about the whole situation, about Mike and how they kind of buried the hatchet, but it kind of is like, hey, it is what it is. That toxic dude's going to be toxic no matter what. And then we talk about Natalie, and the fact that Regina's like, Bill had no right to come in there acting all angry like he did. It's like, why would you assume that about me? Well, why would you assume that about me and Natalie? I mean, to be fair, because, when they're referencing the fact that Bill and Natalie talked earlier that night, Regina's like, at least you weren't sleeping with her. Why would you think that? And then Regina rightfully calls out, I have the right to think that about you, Bill. You don't have the best track record. Not to mention, remember, earlier this season, at the end of season 1, Regina's like, I'm going to go to California. And then Bill was like, I'm going too. And then she's like, no, you stay here. I need time to get space. And I need space and time to figure out what I want. And then Bill's like, fine, can you promise me that when you're out there, you don't talk to or get with any other guy, because I won't get with any other woman. And then less than 24 hours later, the bros try to stop him from leaving. And then that's when Mike gets Natalie to come back into Bill's life. Next thing you know, they're fucking, and Regina walks in on him. So, yeah, kind of like on Sisters, where Calvin told Sabrina, okay, you don't want to be in an exclusive relationship, but please let me know before you hook up with somebody else, or if you're seeing somebody else. And then at the end of the last episode, Sabrina catches Calvin and Peggy coming out of his bedroom. So it's like you have the guy who is trying to get the girl to be like, hey, please don't hook up with anybody else. I won't do the same. And then they get caught in the lie not even 24 hours later. In Calvin's case, it's like 2 or 3 hours later, which is even worse. But with Bill, I 100% agree with Regina that there shouldn't be that many chances that Regina would trust him because, like she said, he doesn't have the best track record. Now, something that I really appreciated about this scene, and this is one of the reasons why I like bruh more than sisters, is the fact that Regina got checked and she accepted it. It was the fact that Regina tried to call Bill out in regards to her thinking that, oh, you think I'd sleep with Natalie? Oh, what about Pam? Well, what about Pam? Well, you're the ones who set that up. Well, yeah, and didn't I prove you wrong there by not sleeping and resting around with her? Yeah, you're right. If this was sisters, I bet money none of the women would have accepted what Bill said. They would just get pissed off and just leave, even though Bill has the not a good track record. This was a time in which he was proving Regina wrong about him because she thought so low of him that the arrangement between her and Pam to get Pam and Bill to mess around didn't work. So a point for Bill, even though he's down by 50. So I really love this moment. Now from there, she's scared to love him due to the fact that, again, he doesn't have the best track record and things just don't seem right, from the wedding debacle, and then he's asking her to move in because, remember, she was supposed to either, get married to Peter and then move to California after the wedding situation so she doesn't have a place to live, and he pretty much, pushes her into moving in because she doesn't want to do it, but he keeps egging her on before she eventually decides to do so. And this is his last chance because if he messes up just once, then she's done and he is going to lose her forever. So we go over to the final scene. DoorDash Greg comes by with Miss Alice's products, and like John mentioned in the car, oh yeah, my mom wants to see you, haven't seen you in so long since you came back from California to Atlanta. And they kind of catch up for a bit, but he's just trying to drop the things off because of the fact that, well, he needs to go for his date, but she wants somebody to talk to because something's wrong and she missed her period, and it's something that she feels means that she's pregnant, and then that was the cliffhanger. Now, for an okay episode, I think it had a decent amount of good moments, and this cliffhanger was pretty damn good. Now, several episodes ago, you had the cliffhanger where I think that John and Bill were at the bar, and the phone call comes from Tom that Miss Alice thinks that she's having a heart attack. But then the next episode, we spend half of the episode dragging out the scene, and it turns out to be gas. So when this episode ended with, I think I might be pregnant, I'm like, okay, this could go one of two ways. The next episode could be rather serious because this is a big deal for the character. And on the other hand, it could be stretched out for over half of the episode, and then the payoff is nothing, meaning that half the episode is filler. But not to jump too far ahead in episode 12, even though it's called Like the Wind, it's not what you expect. But yes, this was a decent episode to come back on, and thankfully we had more than just this one episode to hold us over last week. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think of One Chance? And if you would like to help out the channel, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, hit subscribe, and if you want to donate, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.